Okay, I hope that's running now. Hi! It's been a little while since I did a show and tell video. Yeah, I think it's been quite a few months, but I'm now settled into my town, into the city now. I sold my home by the lake and moved in with my sweetheart, so we are now cohabitating. And so the big challenge here now is squeezing two people into one house, especially two people with a lot of stuff. Now, I've gotten rid of a lot of it, but anyway, I have now taken over the basement. He has a nice 100-year-old home here, and we're very fortunate because this basement here is quite dry, so I'm praying it remains dry because all my art supplies are down here. So I'm just going to do a quick run around here, and then I want to show you what my latest jewelry projects have been, okay? So basically, this is my little seating area here. Of course, the area is quite tight right now compared to my last place. I had lots of space. I do need space right now. So typically this is what a working area will look like when I'm doing my jewelry and beading and that sort of thing. And then when I want to get on to painting, this gets totally cleared away, and then I get on to painting. But I also have my easel here. This is a project in it's in progress, and that's kind of an abstract that I'm doing, and I've done a few while I've been here. Of course, there's my lovely tower with my art supplies on it. This area here is still yet to be cleaned up and tidied up, but it's getting there. I do have my storage boxes. And so over there, this is all the jewelry section over here. So this is where all my beads, all my wire, everything pertaining to jewelry making and design is all here. So I've got lots of stuff. And this is my paperworks, like any of ribbons, yeah, basically anything pertaining to the paper arts, where I can do my art cards or anything like that. And that up there needs to be a little bit organized yet too, but it's, like I said, it's still in progress. I need to get some storage solutions for there, because a lot of those over here, those are art pens and things like that, and that's a nice little storage catch-all. But anyway, and then this of course is my machines down here. There's two sewing machines, embellisher. These are all my acrylic paints, watercolors, blah blah blah. Over here, this has become my little storage bunker for some of the canvases, and of course my other paints. These are my fabric paints and things like that, anything like that. So the glass paints, you know, I am an artist after all, mixed media artist, so the downside to that is we have to have a lot of stuff, whereas if I was just a watercolor artist, then I would just have watercolor paper. But no, I can't be satisfied with just a few things. But anyway, Michaels has had crazy ass sales going on, and they had their gallery wrapped canvases on for 60% off, so I had to take advantage of that, and I picked myself up a number of canvases, which is really good because then I can go. This here I actually ordered from the frame shop. You can get these, there's the two different sizes of the frames, and they put it together there, and then I stretched it, the canvas on myself. This over here, I've managed to squeeze all my books into this little area here. So this is still all a work in progress. These are all going out to the garage, this area here, and then this table here is going to get moved over there with a bookcase up top there, so I can utilize all that space. And then this shelf here is going to get moved over to here, and then that opens up this area a little bit more, and I can get more work done. I can actually sit on this side of the table with a sewing machine and that, and have some space. So, and look at that. That's all my textiles. Those are my fibers. All my fibers, my wool rovings and everything are all over here. These are all my woolens, all my wools and everything, and fibers and whatnot in this corner. So, well, you know what? I know where everything is, though. I really have a photographic memory where that is, and it may look chaotic to you, but I do have a pretty good memory of where things are. But the only thing is for all the loose items, I've got to get a better storage solution for them, so that when I want to go look for you know, specific you know, fibers or whatever that are left over from a previous project, that I know where they are. So I'm going to set this up here so that you can get a good view, so I could show you the latest work in progress. Okay, so hopefully that'll be good. See, I've been hot and cold all night, and so now I have to put on my little jacket here again, because now I've got bare sleeves. So we went out for dinner. It's Mother's Day today too, so we went out for dinner, and I think that my metabolism now is speeded up, and yeah, that's a good thing, because that means I'm burning it off. Yeah, this is my latest present to myself. I invested in a really good set of wubbers, and I mean, the others are fine, that I've been doing well over the years with the basic tools for those who just like to do the jewelry as a hobby, but I'm obviously more seriously involved with that. And these are so nice on the hands, the ergonomic, and they're just, the quality is bar none. You can just tell they're high quality made, and they're not weak, and when I squeeze a wire and hold on to it, I know it's going to hold on. But anyway, I digress. So these are the new things I've been playing with lately, and these are my felted bangles. I've been wanting to do something a little bit different than you know, my felted bands. So of course you've seen a lot of my felted works in previous videos. You know, I kind of do felted armbands and things like that. So these sorts of things are just something I'm playing with. So I've done you know, some nice wet felting armbands, and I don't work at keeping them nice and even and tight in here, because I think it's just, I love that natural loosey-goosey. So anyway, these here, this is really interesting, because these were actually found at a dollar store a year or so ago, and it's industrial felt. They've been die punched, and I'll tell you, boy, are they ever a lot of fun. But they are very compressed. They're difficult to get needles through, so you really have to work with them. And I can get my felting needles through them when I want to adhere them to something else, but it takes a lot of work to break it down. But I love the fact that they're very versatile. So anyway, they were used in some kind of a garden thing or something. You know, some garden idea. I don't care. I just took them apart, and I love to use them for little embellishments. So I have a bunch of my felted baubles that I've made, you know, all the felted beads and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that I can incorporate some of them. I never stopped quitting, or never stopped felting different types of beads and stuff. You know, I may not use them right away, but that's the nice thing. And then I can go in my box when I want to do it. So like, for instance, this right here. This is going to be made into a nice little summer bracelet. Isn't that fun? Very lightweight, you know, and it doesn't matter. It'll be very flexible. So I'm going to put a toggle switch on that. I'm not going to do the lobster claw. I really, really love these toggles. I just find that they're very feminine and very pretty. So I've got various ones of those. So that's what I'm going to do there. And I've done a couple of these, and what I'm going to do with these is I'm actually going to make it, you know, put a really nice lime green button on there and have the little buttonhole on the other side. These will get stitched on, and I'll probably add some more baubles onto there. I glued some beads on. I will stitch these down too. I have a really nice, this one isn't, that's just almost like a Velcro effect. But these here, I've tacked down, temporarily tacked down with a weld bond. It's really good stuff. It welds to anything, like it glues to anything and dries clear. And that just sets it there for me, and then I'll stitch it on to keep it more permanent. And then of course, then this one here, this is really nice. I know you can't really see that as well, but these are silk tops mixed with soy. So soy, the plant material, has been mixed with silk to make a silk top. And boy, is it ever nice. This one here turned, and I love that Romney effect, you know, that curly wool effect that it gets. I think it's the Romney sheep that, or the Romney Rovings that got that really nice curly Q. I like to use Merinos because they're finer. The microns are smaller, and it felts up so beautiful. And there's very little. And of course I use my alpaca as well. I love alpaca because it's hypoallergenic. It's luxurious when compared to the other wools or yarns that are out there. Alpaca is a completely different breed too from a lamb, of course, but it's really getting popular out there with a lot of fiber artists, and I love it too. I actually just purchased some along with some more wool rovings, but merino wool is wonderful to work with in fiber arts. So this is what I decided to do. So rather than just make a complete bangle, which I like, and I've seen some wonderful bangles out there, but I find that sometimes they're a little bit bulky, and so I wanted to make it a little less bulky but a little bit more appealing rather than just a bangle like that, and maybe somebody can wear it by itself, or they can wear it with a plain, you know, you can do with a plain alongside one with beads. So I embellished, and I will embellish some, and so these are the 3, plus I have another one here. There it is. And right now it's just tacked slightly. I used one of these flowers here, and I tacked it with the weld bond there just to stick it on until I sew it. I will sew that onto that. And then of course I use the gold this time because I work a lot in the silver color because that seems to be the more popular color, but I realize that I probably should do some of the golds as well. These lovely lime green buttons. These were also at Michael's on clearance for 79 cents. Start the car. Oh man, I love it when their deals go on like that, because really that's when they're worth shopping at. I wish that they would just keep their prices low, and then we'll be there all the time, right? Anyway, so these are, I'm also going to be using some of the beads that I've made and using them in different applications. So what I did, okay, getting back to this, is rather than do the full bangle and just do, I wanted to do this look here and add a little bit of beads. So what I did is I used memory wire. I cut memory wire. Of course you can get them in the rolls, and you can get some of them that are already pre-cut, but you never cut your memory wire with any other cutter but a memory wire cutter, because this is very hard, very brittle, and you will ruin your cutters if you try to cut that with a regular cutter, a jewelry cutter. So anyway, what I did is I took out some lengths of memory wire, and I fed it through the felt that I had made. Made these long wool ropes, these wool roving ropes, and I picked out the colors I wanted to use, and then I cut them to the lengths. The average lengths are, for most people, are 7.5 to 8 inches for bracelets. Bangles tend to be a little bit bigger, so it fits over this part of the hand. You slide it on, but then it always seems to be a little bit too big for here for some, because I know you can go like this and slide it on. But anyway, what I decided to do with some of them is put the elastic, so that you can slide it over like that, but then once it gets back on here, then it's fairly snug. I have a very big hand. I usually wear 8.5 to 9 because I like a little bit of a drape on my bracelets, and I think it just looks very feminine that way. But so here's some other ones. Some I've left blank with just put a really nice little toggle on there. And the bracelet themselves are really quite nice. The silk tops in there mixed with some other blends that I did with silk and purples and some yellows and that sort of thing. So I'm going to leave some of them plain, like this one, because it's got a lot of interest in the bangle itself. And then they can be mixed and matched with the ones that I'll put some baubles on. So these are all the different kinds that I've done. I tried to kind of stick with purples and lime greens. For some reason I think that's going to be it's always a nice color for spring and summer anyway, right? And I thought maybe I might do up some oranges and what have you for the summer. So I got to get going on that, because my art fair is this weekend coming up, and I don't want to procrastinate any longer. But what's really nice is I like to wear lots of bracelets. These ones here are more muted and earthy. It's really hard to appreciate but this is a blend of light greens, dark greens, some blue greens, and silk tops and stuff. And so there's about 4 or 5 different rovings that have been blended together for this. And then at the end here, I put some bloodstone and a faceted quartz crystal. People probably won't even care about that, but I do. And then I added, in some of them where it shows the bare wire, I just added some beading, just for some variation, because everybody likes to have what they think is a one-of-a-kind. So that is the latest little fun show and tell that I've been doing with my bracelets. Some other things I've been doing too is that's something that I did too. I found this ribbon, so I fed some of the memory wire into that as a bangle, and I added a bunch of little charms just to make it something different, whatever. But this here I've been using, I went and got these, I can't remember what you call these. They're just basil or memory frames or something, I guess, but you can buy them like that, right? So I bought a package of these, and I wanted to make some really nice little keychain holders or whatever out of, I collect a lot of vintage jewelry and stuff and like to repurpose them. So I did, there's just some of them that I've taken apart, and then what I did is I used the super weld bond and adhered them to these so that they can make a really nice pendant or whatever. So in some of these, what I did is I actually put fabric or painted at the back and then put this on top and then put a resin in there to hold it in. This is really nice. I like that one. It's got a real vintage shell with a pearl in the center. Oh, and you remember your old grandmother's clip-on earrings and things like that? So I just pulled them apart and cut them and glued them to the round little ones here. So these will be really cute as little parts of pendants on necklaces that I'm going to do, or keychains. Now here's another older one that I did too. So, and then of course some handmade beads. I did a little bit of wire wrapping and some some button cabochons, and then of course I added some with rhinestones. This one here was done with a resin as well. I have these beautiful vintage iridescent beads, and then there's these they're gorgeous pink cabochons that were also part of an estate sale, and so I put them in a resin in there. And so then there's another handmade bead, glass bead or lentil bead, so I did that and I glued that in there as well. And here's another, this was part of that same set. So what I did is I put a black resin on the bottom and then I adhered this to the top. So they're going to make some really nice little keychains, aren't they? And so there, of course, I've got just other ones. This is actually a bottle cap charm, which I thought was adorable. And so I adhered and then, you have these sorts of things, so I had some beads to them. I thought that would be fun as well. So there you have it. Oh, and this is going to be a lovely one. See that vintage button? That is so old. Actually, I think that's even the classification of antique. Anything up to 60, well, what is it? 60 years and up is vintage. 100 years is antique classification, and anything from 20 to 60 years is a collectible. So there you go. I learned that from an antique knowledge site, when I was inquiring about how do you classify an antique. So there you go. A little bit of a lesson for you today. Whoopsie. Oh, these are what I'm going to use as the keychain. So there's really nice, they're swivel-headed keychains, really nice and sturdy. So, yay! Okay, so that's that for now. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the flip side on my next show and tell.